Larry tried to kill me.
Yeah. I was so thoroughly disgusted.
I mean, think about it. Why does it make you special to do what you do?
Packers jumping around. They rush forward. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elliott can run inside the 10. Head first. He dives off the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing forward, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
There's also Brian Clady and Bob Miller. Third and long 3. Going deep. Oh, and he's got Thomas. Goodbye. Touchdown. Here we go. First snap of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on the New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion, passion, truth, and of course, my comments. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Hey, Avatar, Ray, nice to see you guys in the house. As always, you guys are like clockwork, man. I love it. Love it. Love it. Thanks a lot, guys. Once again, hope everyone's doing well. Before I get going, I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. It doesn't just pertain to females. It pertains to everybody. Mom, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. Just want to say happy Valentine's Day, guys. That's on Tuesday. So obviously I'm not doing my show. So just wanted to get that out before I get started. Hey, Ray, yes, I am doing well. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Yes, doing very well. And just glad to be doing this show again on a Friday. Got to go a lot of different directions. It's weird. There's a lot of topics out there that are kind of disturbing in a sense, but we'll get into that for sure. All right. The pets are doing good. Avatar, thanks. Just got one dog is blind, doing well though. It's just getting older, 12 years old. So you know how it is when you get older. Well, you guys are younger than me probably. So maybe I shouldn't equate getting older with you guys, but hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right. The Broncos have a new offensive line coach, but before I get into who that is, I want to bring some interesting comments that Benjamin Albright commented about in Butch Berry. And this maybe be one of the reasons why Russell Wilson had such a hard time at quarterback, because he didn't have any protection. Let me get into it. Benjamin Albright says, and I quote, his style, meaning Butch Berry, his style of offering criticisms without correction didn't go over well. He left notes in lockers instead of in-person communication. What? You're a coach. You're an offensive line coach, and you got to leave notes in players' lockers? Good gosh. I mean, what kind of leader is that? I continue. Multiple players have suggested he didn't seem to know what he was doing. Well, obviously. If you're going to leave notes in players' lockers and not confront them and correct an issue that maybe, he thought he saw, well, obviously he's not competent. That's for sure. Absolutely not competent. I continue. Let me go this last part. It seemed early on that Hackett's coaching staff wasn't up to the task, and once assistants began losing player confidence, the season was likely doomed no matter what Hackett did. Okay, well, that's pretty telling. And the reason why I say that's pretty telling is this, because hang on, guys, I'm going to turn my phone off so I don't get any. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. The reason why it's pretty telling is this, because we all said, okay, Hackett has no idea what he's doing, this, that, and the other thing. We also saw that the offensive line wasn't doing what they needed to do. And I myself, personally, I blame the players, saying, what is wrong with you guys? Don't you know how to block? Have you forgotten how to block? What's going on? Now, a new light is shed on the fact that Butch Berry, according to Benjamin Albright and some of the players that obviously he's talked to, gotten information from, they would laugh at him, say that he had no idea what he's doing, and leaving notes in lockers and not confronting the players. Wow. Thank goodness he's gone from Denver. Miami, you now have that problem. Congratulations, Dolphins. Well, what can I say? All right. On the heels of that, the Broncos have hired a new offensive line coach. His name is Zach Strief. Now, Zach Strief comes from the New Orleans Saints. Denver has a new offensive line coach in Zach Strief. He is a favorite of Sean Payton as the Saints offensive line coach when Sean Payton was there. Strief was a longtime Saints offensive lineman. He played for the Saints, and he was a great offensive lineman. He was a standout. Now he has landed in Denver as our offensive line coach. Now, my thing is this, okay? I know that head coaches hire their own staff and they hire their own people. It's just that when you, to me, I don't know. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett had no idea what he was doing. And when he hired his staff, it was just basically, a buddy system. Sean Payton's different. Sean Payton has been a head coach for 16 years in the New Orleans Saints. He's been elsewhere. He's been an assistant head coach under numerous prominent head coaches. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to hire somebody like a Butch Berry, and he didn't retain him. In fact, he wasn't even on the staff when Sean Payton was hired. He wasn't. He was fired right after Hackett was fired. When Rosberg came in, he fired him right away because he knew that wasn't working. But I guess Hackett just, the buddy system, just got to bring in your buddies. Don't want to hurt anybody. Don't want to fire anybody, even though you're not doing your job. Anyways. Okay. Let's see. What? Not me for offensive line coach. That ain't going to work, man. You know that ain't happening, Mudungus. Because first off, I'm not big enough to even know what an offensive line person's supposed to look like and be like. But no, I would not be offensive line coach. No way. Hey, David, nice to have you in the house, man. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I'm glad about that. And I'll get into that too. David from Colorado, thank you so much for chiming in. I will get to that topic or that segment here in just a minute. Isaiah Prince, no relationship to the other Prince, the singer Prince. Isaiah Prince, former Bengals offensive tackle Isaiah Prince, has been signed by the Broncos to a reserve future contract last Wednesday. He will officially join the team's 90-man offseason roster when the new league year begins in March. Well, good. We can use all the offensive line players we can get. Hopefully, he makes the squad, whether it be on the starting line, whether it be in the in not reserve, but what do they call that? I can't remember the name of it now, but you know what I'm talking about. And to be on the practice squad or the taxi squad or whatever they call it, to be on that secondary that he can come on to the active 53 at any point in time would be great. I mean, the Bengals don't have that bad of an offensive line. That's for sure. I mean, when you're protecting somebody like Joe Burrow, you better make sure that he stands upright. And as many hits as Russell Wilson has taken We need people in there that can definitely, hold their own. So I applaud that. I think that's a good move. Will we make the 53? I don't know. But then again, like Sean Payton said in his presser, this team isn't going to be for everybody. And that's a pretty vague statement, but it speaks volumes if you read between the lines. And what he's saying is not everybody's going to be on this team. It's going to be hard to cut players that have been on this team. I don't know who that's going to be. I have no idea. But I will tell you this. Sean Payton will get the best out of his players regardless if they've been with the Broncos a long time and all of a sudden they're not with the Broncos. Well, that means that they didn't give it their all or he didn't feel that they would. So, I mean, I wish all the best in Isaiah Prince. Hope he makes it. But I do know that we are going to get the best 53 guys on our team that we've ever had since, in my opinion, since Gary Kubiak. All right. Speaking of what David, I'm going to go back to this one again. Speaking of what David from Colorado said, thank God we fired Landau. Okay, here it is. Widely respected Broncos strength coach informed several Broncos players he is moving on from the Broncos after 5 seasons. He is going to pursue other opportunities and has his own personal training practice. Why did he leave? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, we had so many injuries this past year, more than I can ever think of or remember. And it goes back to strength and conditioning. It really does. I mean, there's freak accidents where you go up for a ball like Tim Patrick did, and you come down, you land awkwardly, and and you tear your ACL. I mean, things like that happen. But when there's other incidents like injuries that you would think would not happen, or a player just cannot stay on the field because he can't stay healthy for one reason or another, that goes back to strength and conditioning. Not only just strength in the weight room or during workouts or whatever, it's the conditioning as to when they get injured, how they are treated to get back on the field. Are they treated accordingly, like they're supposed to, like would be beneficial? Or does a person who is the strength and conditioning coach not understand what it takes to get a player back on the field? Now, people have injuries all the time, whether it be in a workplace, not sports related, but in a regular job workplace, they have injuries and they go to workman's comp and they do I know workman's comp gets a bad rap. But just bear with me, guys. I mean, they go to somebody. Let's say they go to their own personal trainer, or they go to a chiropractor, or they go to wherever. And the bottom line is that person, that company or whatever, is trying to get them back to work at the best possible strength that they can. And if they're doing something wrong or they're not addressing the situation correctly, well, then you got issues. And you put a person back. Go back to the football realm of it. You put a person back on the field that's not 100% healthy, but is, quote, cleared by the medical staff, and he gets re-injured. Then what? I mean, look at Tua in Miami. He had that massive concussion. Everybody knew he had a concussion. Nope. Medical staff put you right back on the field. Guess what? He was knocked out for the rest of the season. Why? In my opinion, because it wasn't done correctly. And in this instance, Landau is good. Glad to be gone. Glad he's gone because it wasn't working. The whole Hackett staff wasn't working. That was obvious. Totally obvious. All right. Now, after Lauren Landau moved on from the Broncos, Saints strength and conditioning coach for 16 seasons during Sean Payton's time in New Orleans is a name to watch to become the Broncos strength and conditioning coach. Well, there you go. Sean Payton knows this guy well. He was a strength and conditioning coach for 16 seasons with Sean Payton in New Orleans. Do we start calling it the Denver Saints? I mean, I don't want to go that route, but it sure looks like it. But then again, Sean Payton is a winning coach. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what works. Now, I'm not saying that he should hire everybody that played for that worked for the Saints on the coaching staff. No, not by any means. But if he trusts them and they've done a great job, then why not? Why not? I don't want another buddy system. I really don't. But I don't see Sean Payton as being that type of a head coach. He's going to bring over the people that he feels and believes will be the best fit for the Denver Broncos to get the Broncos back into winning seasons, back into playing winning football, fundamental winning football. That's exactly what he wants. And the thing that I loved in his presser was this. He said the most important thing that he looked for when he was being sought out as a head coach for many teams, Indianapolis, Arizona, Houston, Carolina, Denver, his main focus was 3 things. And that was ownership, general manager, and himself as a head coach that could get along with those 2. He said the only team that fit that mold was the Denver Broncos. Absolutely. He said that the ownership is focused. They want a winning team. George Payton, he wants a winning team, and he's focused. And so is Sean Payton. So, I mean, if he's going to bring in guys from that he knows really well from the Saints, why not? Saints won a Super Bowl. Sean Payton's a winning coach. He is got a winning record. He took Drew Brees, who was an average quarterback in San Diego at the time, San Diego Chargers, and he took him to a Super Bowl level and Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Maybe he can do it with Russell Wilson. I know Russell Wilson's won a Super Bowl before, and we won't talk about Super Bowl 48, but he has won a Super Bowl. I think Sean Payton can do the same thing. The issue is, and I'll get to a story about that Russell Wilson in a few minutes. The issue is, will Russell Wilson be willing to listen to Sean Payton and to listen to what he's wanting him to do and listen to the structure that Russell Wilson needs to have? He didn't have that under Hackett. That's for sure. Like I said, I'll get into that in a little bit. All right. Let's see. Madungus says, per sources, Landau was not the reason injuries happened. Poor medical staffing by the front office was the reason players and reoccurring injuries, per sources. Okay. Well, if he's a strength and conditioning person, then doesn't it eventually fall back on him? I would think so. Just like a head coach or a manager of a business, if the employees are not up to par, it's going to fall back on the manager or the owner or whatever, because they're the ones in charge to make sure it happens. Yes, I absolutely totally agree. Poor medical staffing, absolutely. But then again, Landau should have taken charge because he's a conditioning coach. Strength and conditioning. He should have stepped in. But again, poor staffing, poor head coach, and that was the results. Absolutely. Let's see. David from college said Drew Brees had one good season in San Diego, and when he went to Sean Payton in New Orleans, he became one of the league's best quarterbacks. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. And Drew Brees in San Diego was mediocre. Why? Because San Diego Chargers are mediocre. Same with LA, but I'm not going to go down that road again. Anyways, but you're right. Drew Brees was mediocre and just basically good in San Diego. Under Sean Payton, you're right. He's absolutely one of the best quarterbacks in the league, especially at that time. And even Drew Brees commented on that when asked about how Sean Payton would be with Russell Wilson. He said Russell Wilson's in the best spot he can be at this point in time because of Sean Payton. Only if he listens to what Sean Payton has to say and takes it to heart and does his due diligence and works hard, which I think he will. Sure hope he does. Can't get any worse than it was last year, can it? Well, let's not hope for that. That's for sure. Absolutely. Wait a minute. You can only hire who you can afford, penny pinching hires. I know you're not talking about the Walton Penner ownership group. You must have been, Madungus, you must be talking about the trust. That's all I'm assuming, because now it seems like, deep pockets, and they'll just hire and spend whatever they can because they want to. So I'm assuming that's what you were referring to, which is fine. Jeffy's Kingdom Chiefs. I wonder who you're going for in the Super Bowl. Just a thought. Just a thought. Nice to have you in the house, man. Nice to have you. Absolutely. All right. Let's move on. Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have hired former Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero as their defensive coordinator. Evero was rumored to be the Vikings' next defensive coordinator, but Evero chose Carolina instead. Why? Why would you go to Carolina, who, I don't know, is not that good? I mean, sure, they were okay last year. They didn't make the playoffs. They're okay. And the Vikings have an offense that is absolutely on point. I know a lot of people say, Kirk Cousins isn't the real deal. Okay, so what? But they won 12 games with Kirk Cousins with a horrible defensive coordinator. Now they have a defensive coordinator. No, it's not Evero. It's somebody the Broncos sought out. And here it is. After Evero was let out of his contract and signed with Carolina, that focus shifted to Brian Flores as Denver's next defensive coordinator. Well, that didn't happen, as Brian Flores has been hired by the Minnesota Vikings. He was scheduled to interview in Denver this past Wednesday, a couple days ago, but he never left the Vikings after those interviews, and he signed with Minnesota. So now Denver doesn't have Evero. Denver doesn't have Brian Flores. Now who do we get? Oh, no. Don't even say Fangio. Don't even go there. I don't want Fangio back. Yes, he's a good and outstanding defensive coordinator. I don't want him back because I don't feel it's going to be a good fit for two reasons. One, I first and foremost, he was a Broncos head coach several years ago. Not that long ago. Well, a couple of years ago now. And I don't think he would want to come back as a defensive coordinator. I don't think that would work. I'm not sure that, and I know that people have been removed. I know that Joe Ellis isn't there anymore, and John Elway's out of the building as well. And it's a new ownership, and so things could change, and maybe Fangio could, but Fangio's not, because I think he went to the Dolphins. So that's not going to happen. Nor would I ever thought it would happen. I don't know who the Broncos defensive coordinator is going to be now. Is the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator going to leave? I sure doubt it, but one never knows. I sure doubt it. Well, unless the Walton Penner ownership group comes through with money that he can't refuse, but I don't think that's going to happen because I think he's under contract. So who are we going to get? Well, I'm not the head coach, so I don't know. But I'm just saying we don't have Evero now, and we certainly don't have Flores. And he goes to a Vikings team that's loaded, absolutely loaded on offense. And now that defense is going to be elite. How do you miss out again? How do you flat out miss out again? I don't know. I sure would have really liked, and I wanted Evero to stay. Absolutely wanted Evero to stay, but I understand. He's a good friend of Hackett. He wasn't going to he didn't want to stay on. His good friend got fired, and he wanted to move on. I understand that to a certain point, but then we lose a Brian Flores. I can't blame Flores for going to Minnesota. I mean, there's going to be success right out of the gate. Green Bay's not the same. Detroit's not this. Well, Detroit's up and coming. But Chicago's not the same, so it's basically going to be a two-headed race. So I don't blame him one bit. Plus, Denver's in a so-called rebuild situation. New head coach all over again. New coaching staff all over again. So, yeah, he's going to a team that's going to be it's going to be strong next year. I just wish he would have come to Denver, but what can I say? Didn't happen. So the defensive coordinator search is on. So what can I say? What can I say? Yes, I agree. Fangio is signed with the Dolphins, and that's good because I don't want him in Denver. Don't want him back in Denver. I don't think it's a good fit, and I'm glad he's on Minnesota. I'm glad he's on Miami, along with Butch Berry. Yeah. How's that going to work out? Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. I got to go to one. I can't make this the Jackass of the Week because it's only an allegation, but I have to bring it up because it happened. So here we go. Hall of Fame Michael Irvin has been released from National Football League's network, NFL Network's coverage of Super Bowl 57. This is an allegation of misconduct made against him. A woman complained about Irvin's behavior during an encounter that occurred last Sunday, covering the Super Bowl, pre-Super Bowl in Arizona. Irvin said, and I quote, "I talked to this girl." Girl? Not woman? Okay. Quote, "I talked to this girl. I don't know her, and I talked to her for about 45 seconds. We shook hands, then I left." End quote. He also went on to say, and I quote, "I was also out drinking." End quote. There you go. There you go. So what did he say? I don't know. He said he just talked to her 45 seconds. But something had to have happened for the NFL Network to kick him off of the network going forward for Super Bowl coverage. Something had to be said. Now, in a hotel, you're going to have cameras everywhere, especially in the lobby. And that's where this took place, apparently. So there's got to be camera footage. I don't know if there's any sound, but there's body language, obviously. So there has to be something. And from my understanding, this isn't the first time that Michael Irvin's had issues. Now, I don't know about the other ones, nor am I going to even speculate or delve into those because I don't make stuff up. So I don't know about anything prior to. But if there's enough evidence in a 45-second encounter for NFL Network executives to ban him and bar him from being on the network during Super Bowl coverage leading up to Super Bowl 57 this Sunday in a couple of days, something seriously had to have happened or occurred. But it's only allegations. But it's enough allegations to not have him on the network. Hopefully, I know that a lot of women out there, and I'm not just picking on women, so don't even think that that's the case. I'm not. I'm just saying let me rephrase that. There's a lot of people out there that like to take advantage, possibly, of somebody who's famous, somebody who maybe they have a grudge against. They don't like what they've said on TV, or they don't like their political stance, or they don't like how they play the game or whatever. And they try and take them down. There's a lot of people out there like that. I'm not saying that that's what this is, but it is an allegation that is serious enough for Michael Irvin not to be on the NFL Network. Hopefully, it comes out to just an allegation or something that never occurred, and it was just a misunderstanding, or it was just a situation that got out of hand. That, not in a bad way, but, in a good way, meaning that the allegations were far-fetched or that it was just made up or whatever. Hopefully that's the case. But if he's going to be removed from a network, it sounds to me like guilty before innocence. And that's not what this country is based on. This country is based on innocent until proven guilty. But apparently in this situation, there may be enough, or obviously, in the minds of the NFL Network's executives, there was enough to remove him from covering Super Bowl 57. I wish the best for Michael Irvin. I hope it all works out for him in the long run. Just a shame. Right before the biggest game of the season, something like this has to be brought forth. It's not good. I agree. I agree, Ray. Absolutely. Allegations can ruin a man's life. Totally. Even if they're false, even if it was a rumor, even if it was made up, even if there's nothing to it, that stigma will stick with Michael Irvin going forward. He can sit there till he's blue in the face and say, it never happened. I got proof. Look at the cameras. I got proof it never happened. Doesn't matter. If you get a stigma placed on you that this happened or that happened, or an allegation that this took place or whatever, that's going to stick with a person for a long time. And you're right. It can ruin their life. And that, to me, is not fair. Not fair whatsoever. All right. I move forward. No more Team 3. I wonder how this is going to go over. Here we go. In Sean Payton's opening presser, he hinted at a new order in Denver. The order is where the head coach is in charge and the quarterback is a team player. He's not going to be a guy on an island with an office and his own staff. Payton also said, and I quote, "Our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that will be it," end quote. Hello, Russell Wilson. Guess what? You're not above everybody else. 52 guys are here, and you're up here last year under Nathaniel Hackett. Why? Because Nathaniel Hackett didn't have any idea what he was doing. And he allowed you, basically, Russell Wilson, to have your own entourage, your own personal coaches, and your own office. Well, how did that work out? Huh? How'd that work out? You only won 4 games because the other game was won by Rippon. So you only won 4 games. How'd that whole thing work out? Guess what? It's not going to happen this year. You're not above everybody else. You are on equal ground. You shouldn't have been above anybody else. And I know that some quarterbacks have their own office, but they don't have their own posse. They don't have their own bodyguards, so to speak, their own coaches coming inside Dove Valley, going into your office, doing whatever, hanging out, going over games. I don't know what they're doing, but you don't deserve that. You're not above everybody else. None whatsoever. And that's what I liked about Sean Payton when he came and said, no, this is foreign to me. I don't know. This isn't going to happen. We're going to have, let me say that again. And Payton said in that quote, our staff will be here. Our players will be here. And that will be it. End quote. Now, if that doesn't send a strong message as to, hello, Russell Wilson, you're not going to be, you're above everybody else. You're not going to have your own people in here. If they're not on our paid staff, they are not coming onto the grounds. That's not going to happen. Now, that's not to say that he can't have them off site, can't have them maybe in another building across the street or another block down the road or wherever. That's not to say he can't have them there. Just not going to have them in Dove Valley in his office, if he still has an office, which I doubt he will. So Sean Payton is putting his foot down. And I go back again to what I said earlier. Sean Payton said in his presser, this team is not for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody. That's not saying that Russell Wilson's going to get released, that's not going to happen. But changes are going to be made, and they're being made now. And that is the way it needs to be. A head coach needs to be in charge. A head coach needs to put his foot down and say, enough is enough. You don't like it? Oh, well, deal with it. Because this is the way we do things to win games. We don't do things the way you are doing it because it doesn't win games. We're doing it the way it needs to be done. And that is everybody's equal. Nobody's above anybody else. Whether you're the 53rd man on the roster or you're Russell Wilson, you're not any better than the last guy on the team. Plain and simple. So either deal with it, accept it, move forward in a positive manner to get the best out of yourself and the team and win games, or eventually you're not going to be here. Because I guarantee you, Sean Payton's going to be on the Broncos a lot longer than a Russell Wilson will be. Just saying. Absolutely, in my opinion, Sean Payton will be here longer than Russell Wilson. All right. On a very disturbing issue involving Russell Wilson and Sierra and their foundation. And this bothers me because it involves kids, innocent kids. Here I go. Russell Wilson's foundation. USA Today concluded the Why Not You Foundation that Wilson started with wife Sierra donated less than 25% of the money it raised towards charitable activities. Whoa. Less than 25%. Okay, let's put this in perspective, guys. For every dollar, that's less than 25 cents. Where's the rest of the 75 cents going? Somebody's pocketbook? Okay, I'll explain. Let me continue. The report concluded that the foundation spent more, holy smokes. The report concluded that the foundation spent more than $1.1 million on salaries compared to about $600,000 on charitable donations. Wow. So when he stands up there and says, you know, we got this foundation going and we're donating this money and it's going to help the kids and stuff. Yes, they may be donating some money, but if it's a charitable event, if it's a charitable foundation, why are you not putting the majority of the money into the kids? You're spending $1.1 million on salaries? Really? Come on, Wilson. Are you cannot be serious. The kids are helpless. It's a foundation to help them, in the hospitals. You've seen video and pictures of Russell Wilson. If you have not, they're out there. Russell Wilson and Sierra in the hospital bed with these kids that have these some of them are life-threatening issues. Some of them are birth issues or whatever. I don't know. But they're in a hospital for one reason or another. And they say the foundation is there to help them. It's the foundation called Why Not You? It's to help them get better, to move forward, to live a meaningful life, a healthy life. And you're donating less than 25% to help them? All the while you're giving $1.1 million in salaries? Holy smokes. This is not good. This is not good. Wilson's starting off on the wrong foot again. Again. The reason why I say again is because of last year. The whole debacle of the whole season. Now we're in the off season. Well, Broncos are in off season. The NFL is still going till Sunday. But he's starting off on the wrong foot with Sean Payton. And I mean, not directly, but indirectly. And now this surfaces. Oh my gosh. I mean, I hate to say it, but did Pete Carroll know something about Russell Wilson? And now we're the one holding the bag? Wow. I'm shocked. I really am shocked and stunned because of all the things he says in a positive way, with his faith and this and that. And now this comes out. I'm not saying that he's perfect. Nobody's perfect, but holy Toledo. I continue. This is unbelievable. Not only is that a very bad look for Wilson, but a nonprofit attorney stated there is a high probability The IRS could levy substantial penalties against the foundation. Oh, well, there you go. That's going to hurt the kids even more. So not only is he hurting the kids with less than 25% of the donations going to the foundation and the kids, but now there could be substantial penalties against the foundation. Yeah, like payback of money that you apparently said was going to the foundation and the kids, but it wasn't. Now the IRS can get involved. I don't know. I don't understand. I've said this many times, guys. I don't get the mindset of these guys, these players. I don't get it. How hard is it to be honest? You're making millions of dollars. You're raising millions of dollars for a foundation. How hard is it to do the right thing? Apparently it is. Apparently it is. And of all people, seriously, of all people, with all the pictures that we saw with Russell Wilson and Sierra in hospitals, talking about their foundation, saying how much they're there for the kids, they reading stories to the kids, they're doing all the, quote, photo ops, making it look good, when all the while behind the scenes, this is happening. I'm not liking this, guys. I'm not liking him. Do I like Russell Wilson as a football player? Yes, I think he could be a really good player for the Denver Broncos. I just don't like this side of him. I don't. And it's frustrating because we had a guy in Peyton Manning who was honest. We never heard anything like this about Peyton Manning. I'm not saying Peyton Manning is perfect. He's not. But what I am saying is when you have a guy that people look up to, especially children look up to him in Russell Wilson. And then this comes out. How do you think the parents of these kids feel? How do you think they're reacting? How do you think they're not focused, but how do you think that they're the way they look at Russell Wilson going forward is going to look like? They're not going to trust him. They're not going to believe him. Wow. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. I never thought I'd ever. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless. And that's hard for me to do, guys, as well as you know. I don't know what else to say. Let me continue the last part of it. Wilson has not commented on the situation. Oh, that's not good. If you're not going to comment on a situation, that means one of two things. Either A, you don't want to come out right away and say, no, that ain't true, and make yourself look like you're trying to backtrack. Or he's trying to get an attorney and all the eggs in one basket to try and spin this a different way. Or cover or do something to take the focus off of him. Why wouldn't you come out if you're not guilty of something? Why wouldn't you come out? Show proof. Open the books. Show exactly what has happened if you're not guilty. Now, I know Russell Wilson probably has book managers and people that are running the foundation. There's no doubt that's the case. But again, when you are the head of an organization or a foundation or a company or a head coach of a football team, you are held accountable. Period. This falls back on Russell Wilson because it is his foundation. He needs to know what is going on. He needs to have the books open. He needs to know what is taking place. Why wouldn't he come out and say something? Why would he not comment on this particular, in my opinion, catastrophic news to his career, to his, what's the word I'm looking for? To his character. Absolutely. It diminishes his character. At least it does to me. I don't know what you guys think, but it sure does to me. I continue. Last comment on this. Fans and donors would certainly like to hear him address the allegations sooner rather than later. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. He may say, well, I'm on vacation. It doesn't matter what he's doing. If he's on vacation or if I don't care what it is. He needs to come clean with this, or at least try to, or at least explain what in heaven's name is going on with this. Because it's not just about him and Sierra. It's about the kids. It's about his integrity. It's about his character. It's about what he comes off as when we see him in those pictures and video. Now, I look at those pictures and video in a completely different light. I'm not liking this, guys. I'm not liking this direction that the Broncos quarterback is heading into a new season. I'm not liking it. And he had better come out and explain, and he better address the situation, because if USA Today News is reporting this, is that what it was? Yeah, USA Today News is reporting this. I don't think that USA Today is going to say something that they don't have a foundation, no pun intended, or they don't have a grounds to say what is actually happening. I don't think they're making this up. I really don't. And for Russell Wilson to be mum, lips tight on not saying anything about this and not coming out and saying one way or the other, speaks volumes about the reality of what really is happening with this foundation. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. I'm just, like I said, I am absolutely stunned. What's going on, Bubba? Hey, what's happening, Bubba? Let me put you up here. Where are you? Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Bubba? How you doing? Nice to have you. Absolutely nice to have you. Let's see. Ray says, is this the same kind of thing Favre did? That's a good question. I would have to say, to a certain degree, yes. Only from the standpoint that Brett Favre was taking money to donations or something in order to build I think it was a volleyball court or something that his daughter was going to college at, and they wanted to make a nice facility and everything. So he's taking some of that money, kind of like embezzling, and using that to build a volleyball arena or some type of not a stadium per se, but like an arena or a gym type setting. So yes, but see that's with adults, so to speak. Kids that are in college are closer to adulthood than kids, young little toddlers or young kids, age maybe, I don't know, younger than teenagers in a hospital fighting for their life, so to speak, in situations that, he says that they're donating money for the foundation to help these kids. And when less than 25% of that money is going actually to the kids to help them, I mean, to me, that's a slap in the face. That is lying. That is absolutely lying. Sure, if he wants to say that they're donating money to the kids, that's absolutely true. But you can't say that the foundation is based on helping these kids and doing the best that they possibly can when it's less than 25%. That's not true. You're not doing what you said you're doing. I mean, you're skirting the truth. You're bending the truth when you say that you're helping the kids and it's less than 75%. That's not helping the kids. Not when $1.1 million is going to salaries. That's not helping the kids. So in that instance, I would say, yeah, it's pretty close there, Ray. It's pretty close to what Favre did. But, the difference, in my opinion, is this. Brett Favre is retired. And yes, as bad as it is, he's retired. Russell Wilson's not. And Russell Wilson is on our team, the Denver Broncos. This throws another dark cloud over Mile High Stadium, over Dove Valley, over this organization that is trying to make things correct with a new owner, new coaching staff. And now this. Another black eye on the Denver Broncos. And I'm sorry, guys, I am getting sick and tired of the Broncos being in the news for the wrong reasons. I like Russell Wilson, but now not as much. as I used to. And certainly a little bit less, a lot more distrust in what he says going forward regarding his foundation and, frankly, basically anything else, because I just don't know what to trust with him anymore. I really don't. And that's bothersome. Absolutely bothersome. Okay. Yeah, Ray. yeah, that's a good point. Worse than Watson getting happy. Yeah, you're right. It is. Absolutely it is. Because like I mentioned before, this hurts the kids. This absolutely hurts the kids. The only thing that hurt Watson was, I don't know, getting out of Houston. Maybe that didn't hurt so much. I don't know. But you're right. This is worse. And again, it's worse personally because it involves a quarterback, our quarterback, on the Denver Broncos. Hope it gets straightened out. I really hope it gets straightened out. But man, I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless on that. All right. Let's go to some better news. As this is the last topic for the show, let's go to better news. And here it is. Hall of Fame Demarcus Ware. How does that sound, guys, huh? Demarcus Ware, Hall of Fame defensive lineman. Here it is. It's finally official. Demarcus Ware has been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ware spent most of his career as a Dallas Cowboys player, but in 2015, he was a Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos. Got that right. Ware said when asked how it felt, I quote, "It feels good knowing the sacrifices we went through to be the best. Now we can say those will be enshrined forever," end quote. Great statement. He's absolutely right. All of those hard years. And by the way, he played 9 years in Dallas. Not one time did he ever even get close to the Super Bowl. Not one time. Comes to Denver. 2014 was, suspect. He was injured in 14 and he couldn't be on the field as much as he wanted to be. 2015, yeah, that was his breakout year. Absolutely the best year of his career. And I don't mean that necessarily stat-wise. I mean it for the result, for the end result. I continue. Let's see. Ware played 9 seasons, like I mentioned, in Dallas, averaging 13 sacks a year. But his playoff record in Dallas was 1 win, 4 losses. 1 win and 4 losses. Then he comes to Denver. Never had he even come close to playing in the Super Bowl till he came to Denver. Exactly. Where may be, this is what I hope doesn't happen, but I'm bracing because it probably will. Ware may be primarily a Cowboy as he gets ready to enter Canton, but the Broncos wouldn't have won Super Bowl 50 without Ware's play at the end of the 2015 season. Absolutely. It would never have happened. Now, yes, we had a stellar defense, absolutely stellar defense in 2015. We had Gary Kubiak as our head coach. He brought in great coaching staff, and they put together a Super Bowl championship team in 2015. But Demarcus Ware took the pressure off of Von Miller by being opposite ends. Von Miller was on the right side as you're facing the Broncos defense. Von Miller was on the right side. Demarcus Ware was on the left. When Von Miller stripped Cam Newton in the I guess it's the first or second series, I think it was the second series of Super Bowl 50, stripped him, and the ball went bouncing towards the end zone. It was Demarcus Ware who was right there with, I believe it was Malik. Was it Malik Jackson? It was somebody like that. I can't remember who it was. Recovered the ball in the end zone. Demarcus Ware was right there. Sure, it was Von Miller who got MVP of that game. In my opinion, it was Demarcus Ware who should have gotten MVP of the Denver Broncos for the 2015 season because of what he did to elevate Von Miller. Demarcus Ware was instrumental, 100% instrumental in the playoffs. Do you realize that he personally either sacked or hit Tom Brady 7 times in that championship game? 7 times. And he forced Tom Brady to throw that ball awkwardly for that 2-point conversion that was ultimately intercepted by the Broncos. And of course, the Broncos fumbled and was recovered by New England. It didn't matter because of the 2-point conversion, so they couldn't advance it. Demarcus Ware was instrumental. Will he go into the Hall of Fame as a Dallas Cowboy? Well, if you're going by how many years he played with them, possibly. I sure hope that he gives so much recognition to the Denver Broncos and for what his accomplishment was on the Broncos. He only played for the Broncos for several years, for a few years. He played for the Cowboys for 9 and only won 1 playoff game out of 5. He comes to Denver with that Bronco defense in 2015, with that offense that Peyton Manning, all he had to do was manage the offense and let the defense do its work. Demarcus Ware was absolutely 100% instrumental in the Broncos not only getting to the Super Bowl and winning it, but the entire season to get the Broncos in position to go to the playoffs and to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and beat the New England Patriots and then eventually win Super Bowl 50. Demarcus Ware, congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction. I cannot wait to hear your speech in Canton, Ohio. You've deserved it, absolutely deserved it, and I am so glad and just so proud to be a Denver Bronco fan for the years that you played in Denver, for the effort that you gave, for the absolute domination that you showed in that 2015 season. You absolutely deserve to be in Canton for life. Thanks again, Demarcus, for everything you gave to the Denver Broncos. This Bronco fan salutes you. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction 2023. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Before I get out of here, I just want to say this real thing. Ray says, agreed. I just had to ask a question. Hey, no problem. You can ask any question you want. I'll comment. It's all good. It's all good, man. That's what the chat's about, and that's what I love about interacting with the chat. Ask away, and I'll comment one way or another. You guys know that. All right, guys. Thanks for being in the house. I want to thank Avatar. I want to thank Ray, David from Colorado, Madungus. Let's see, Jeff Kingdom Chiefs. And of course, anybody else that's watching out there on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Thanks, guys, for watching. As always, thanks for your support. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday evening. You guys have a wonderful weekend as well. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I don't know who anybody's going for. I definitely don't want Kansas City to win, so I'm going to go for the Eagles. So hopefully the Eagles win and the Chiefs don't get that second trophy for Patrick Mahomes. Anyways, guys, you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks again for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, as always. Until next Friday, let me give you a quick rundown of the other shows. Super Bowl Sunday, we're not doing the neighborhood. That's for family and friends. And I've got my son, daughter-in-law, and grandkids coming over, so that wasn't going to work out. Then on Monday, we have the Cluster Puck. That goes live every 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's an Avalanche talk show, and they'll be talking about the Avalanche games of this past week. On Tuesday, we have the 5280 with Madungus, Creevy, Glenn, and Cam. That goes live every 5, 6, 7, and 8 on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we have the Wild Wild West. That features a fan from every AFC West team: Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs. That goes live every 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30. And then on Friday, this show, once again, Broncos Breakdown, hosted by me, Bronco Bill, will be live 5, 6, 7, and 8. Till then, guys, have a wonderful rest of your night. Have a wonderful weekend. We will talk to you on Friday. And like I said, until then, have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye. Bye.